Joe, that's a Hall of Fame terrible take right there.
No, it's not. It's true. It's so true.
What?
Boy just choked. Straight women booty and let the ball go.
Say what again? Say what again? I dare you. I double dare you.
LeBron James
puts up a three. Won't go. Rebound box. Back out to Allen. His three-pointer. Bang! Irving and Curry. One-on-one. Irving puts it up. It's good. Kyrie Irving from downtown.
Oh, yeah, but we'll get to explaining and debating in a second. Joseph.
Yes, sir.
How we doing?
Can't believe I gotta have this conversation. I'm doing great. Not bad. Not bad. Living life, NBA's over, so a little lull of no sports. We gotta watch baseball.
We got the W. We got the WNBA.
Oh yeah. Shout out.
Shout out. We'll start getting more into the WNBA conversation.
It's been fun.
Next time. But we have a new champion, Joe. Last night, the Oklahoma City Thunder were crowned champions. They won Game 7. There was a lot to go on in that game. We'll get into some of the details that may or may not impact next year and years to come. But first, Joe, I just want your overall reaction to the whole series. You picked Thunder in 6. I picked Thunder in 5. And they said, how about I raise you one? We'll go 7. Pacers. Shout out to the Pacers, man.
Yeah. I told you Pacers were going to win Game 1.
You did. You almost called that series to a T. If the Thunder wouldn't have just messed up in Game 6, you would have had it right to a T. But every round, it seems like the Pacers were doubted. And they just exceeded expectations every single round. And we'll talk more about the long-term impacts, but that might not have even gone the Thunder's way if Halliburton hadn't torn his Achilles.
Yeah, the way he was looking early.
He came out. Hey.
They were looking good.
It was like, uh-oh. But, Joe, what was your reaction to the whole series? It was a great series. Really
It is a great series. For me, for OKC and the Pacers, two young, talented teams, they're not going to be able to keep all their pieces because there's been players on both sides that made themselves some money. The role players that came up and played dropping 40 burgers in multiple games or taking turns. It's like it was almost to a point where when you look at OKC, like Williams is going to get paid because he had a great series. Chet Holmgren, even though his points didn't look great, he did a lot of things. If you look at the box score, wasn't great, but he did a lot of things defensively that was pretty good. I think there's just then you look at Nembhard, you look at Naismith, those guys, they earned themselves a lot of money too. You look at Pascal Siakam, he 2-time NBA champion.
Almost.
Almost, right? Like, so he's gonna make some money still too because he looked really good. He was probably the best player for them in the finals and in the Eastern Conference Finals. So when you really look at it, there's a lot of parts that are going to be moved around. Because if you look at the East, especially if you look at the West is stacked. So I can't just sit there and say OKC can just run things through, especially if they're going to lose some pieces. So my overall thing was the role players, they showed out and they made some money. So this may be the last time we see these young talented teams look like this.
Yeah, I might have seen the series a little different than you did, Joe. But at the end of the day, the Thunder did win the series. Role players made enough plays in that series. I'd say the role players showed up. Depending on what you want to call Jalen Williams as a star or not a star.
He's not a role player. He's a star now. Shit.
So I don't know. So you're right. He is going to get paid. Someone will pay him a lot of money. I'll leave it at that for now.
Hey, somebody paid Jordan Poole a lot of money too, so
they sure did. So my takeaway though, Joe, is the Pacers, when healthy, when fully constructed, they are a real threat. That is a real contender. They pushed the Thunder to 7 games, and when you combine regular season and playoffs in terms of average point differential by game, the 2024-2025 Thunder, I believe, had like they're in the top 5.
They are.
I don't know where they finished. They could have finished at 1. I'm not entirely sure, but they were in the top 5 ever. We're talking like 95, 96 Bulls, Lou Alcindor, Bucks, like these all-time great teams that end up winning a championship, and the average amount of points that they beat teams by, they're in the top 5 ever. So that is a great team. That is a great team. I don't want to take anything away from them. They had some iffy moments. They looked young from time to time. Game
Yes,
6 was a real young performance when they got wiped off the floor in Indiana. When they could have put the series away and ended it in 6 to make Nostradamus over there. But the youth kind of got him, I think, in that one.
for sure.
I think it got him in game 1 as well. Like the Thunder were definitely the better team in this series. So the best team really all year long won the finals. So it's good to see them get rewarded for that. They're going to have a lot of interesting decisions though. But a guy that now has been an integral part on 2 different championship teams, can't say enough about that very small trade before the season started, but getting Alex Caruso from the
Alex
Bulls
Caruso was
was
crazy.
a
Yeah,
huge get. He made so many timely threes, timely defensive plays.
yeah,
And like you said, Joe, as some of these other younger guys are going to get their big bag, you're probably going to lose some people in there, right? But you got to make sure you maintain the Alex Carusos, the Lou Dorts, the Kayson
yeah.
Wallaces. Like those players made so
Make
many
it work.
little plays for the Thunder to get them to the finish line. Because let's be honest, Jalen Williams had a very big game 5 when
But after
I'll give him
that,
credit. Chips were on the table. We're on the table. It was put up or shut up time because if they would have lost that game 5, it was probably over with. But he had a lot of stinkers as well. But the collective of the other guys doing a lot of those little things made up for it. So shout out to all the role pieces. I thought they did a fantastic job. And Sam Presti finally gets himself a championship. It feels like he's
took
deserved one, honestly.
forever. He had so
With
much
how many
talent.
different iterations of the Thunder that
Whew.
he has built, he deserved um, a finals win. So shout out to the Thunder, great win. Shea won the Finals MVP. Not that there was really any much of a doubt about it, but Joe, just a quick reaction to Shea's. Let's go year as a whole. He is one of I forget how many, not very many scoring title, MVP, Finals MVP, all in the same season as Michael Jordan 6 times. Shaq did it. Wilt, I think, did it early in his career. Not many people have done it.
Mhm.
So he is in very rare company. LeBron's never done it. Kobe never did it. So what's your reaction to Shade? Let's just say his season that ends with a Finals MVP.
Hey, Mr. Consistent. That's that's what he is. He told you guys early on, and that's what he is. He's reliable. You know what you're gonna get when you have Shea. It was just up to the role pieces to be able to help him out, and that's what it was last year. And you saw what happened this year when they all came out and showed out. They had the freaking amazing defense, some all-time great defense, and that what I think is really the biggest thing. Because then Shea could just worry about that offense a lot because they had lockdown defense. It was insane. So I think he deserved the Finals MVP. Obviously, he's Mr. Consistent. The one thing that Doc Rivers got right in the last 15 years. So shout out Doc Rivers. You didn't want to let him go, but they kind of let him
Kind of.
go. But
Still got rid of him.
it was still great. Shea, hey man, all you can do is give him credit. I don't know. Still don't know if I would say he's the best player in the world, but he's top 3.
Yeah, I'm not there with him being like a
Yeah,
definitive best player in the world. If you want to say he is, I'm not gonna be mad at you for it.
that's what I'm
I'd probably
saying.
still
Yeah,
take Jokic, but
he's top 3.
um, but nonetheless, it was an
Yeah.
incredible season, right? And is Shea the best defender
Nope.
himself? No, but does he play very good team smart defense? Yes, and that was all he needed to do with that team, and then be able to provide offense
Yeah.
when they're in the half courts, right? Because Jalen Williams, great transition player. A lot of those other guys getting shots on the break, layups, dunks, threes in transition, all those things, they're great at that. Shea was really the only person that could give them something when
Mhm.
things went wrong. Jalen, not quite there. Maybe he gets there, but he's not quite there yet at a
Fucking
consistent
there.
level against the top teams in the league. But yeah, I mean, I thought it was a hell of a year by him. And I can't wait to see the encore because this is the part where it starts to really get tricky, Joe. That we see a lot of the elite players even struggle. Right? All right, you just went to a finals. Now you've got the shortest off season. You got to get back. You got to defend your title, and you got to have the mental stamina to put up, because now you're not sneaking up on anybody. You're the reigning champ. You're going to get everybody's best shot next year. So let's see how they handle that. I'm very excited to see that. But, Joe, that leads into the natural question that everyone is asking. Are the Thunder going to be a dynasty? One of the youngest teams ever,
No.
right? One of the youngest teams ever to win a finals. So it is. I don't think it's an unfair question. It's a tough question, and that's very lofty expectations to start even putting on that young group of players. But what do you think? Do you think they will become a
I mean, we're
dynasty
going to
or
talk
no?
about it later. Kevin Durant is still in the West. LeBron, Luka's in the West. Though Anthony Davis and Kyrie are in the West. I know there's some injuries there in that situation. Spurs. There's a lot of young talent in the West. The West is so stacked. If they were in the East, I'd be like, yeah, the way this. But also,
Curry and Jimmy
yeah,
with the
and
full off
then
season.
and yeah, and
Yeah,
they
they
were
fill out the roster.
competitive when Steph was healthy. And then if you need to look at the East, the Celtics are still the Celtics. I know Tatum is hurt, but when he comes back, I mean, what's gonna happen with Giannis? Is Giannis gonna make a move somewhere? Like, there's still a lot of talent out there for me to say, yeah, now OKC just gonna run it back and do it again and become a dynasty. It's just real hard for me to do. Now they deserve their respect. They were, like you said, they were the best team all season long. They went through. They won the NBA Finals. They only gonna get better from here. But the way the NBA looks right now, there's so much young talent, and it's just gonna be hard for me to just definitively say right now, yep, they got it. OKC got it. Even though, and we haven't seen some of these other moves that's gonna happen. What's gonna happen with Cooper Flag? It's just a lot of things that can still happen for me to just give them the crown. Just go, yep, they're definitively gonna be the #1 favorite next year. I don't see that.
I mean, I
But
think they
not,
will be
you
the
think it's gonna be
favorite next year. I don't think there's any
definitively? Like,
question
it's
about
gonna be a
that. But
close.
no,
No,
I wouldn't
that's
bet
what I'm
money
saying.
on
Yeah.
it. Like they're not good enough to bet money on for me. What I would say, Joe, and this might be a hot take. I don't know. I'm not intending this to
Uh-oh.
be a hot take. I think them winning the finals this year actually hurt their chance of being a dynasty. Because I think if they would have lost, they would have said, we're not going to waste this. Jalen Williams, Chet Williams, or Chet Holmgren, get me Giannis. And Giannis and Shea would have been a problem that nobody had an answer for. That would have
Yeah.
been a problem that nobody had an answer for. Now they won. They're not going to do that.
Yeah.
Like, they are going to run it back. And so I think that's going to actually end up hurting them in
Talking about
terms of
Sam
becoming
Presti
a
though.
dynasty, because he's never
No,
been
yeah,
one to
he
really
likes
make
to
big
grow at
splashy
home. Yeah,
trades
he
for
likes
a
to
star, though.
draft.
I could see him maybe making a move where he packages up some of his picks to move up in this draft to get another highly touted prospect. With, a lot of people think this draft doesn't go deeper than, depending on who you ask, 3 to 6. Maybe he tries to get into that 3 to 6 range to get one of those guys to be a kind of impact player. It's one of those things where it's interesting, right? Because for them, they don't have to draft for need, right? A lot of teams, they end up making mistakes at the front end of a draft like this. It's because they are drafting, well, I need a guy that can potentially turn into a superstar, whereas they just need somebody to go be really good, but not. They got their franchise player. They got Shea. They're
That's
good.
great.
They got a number 2 that they think they can trust in Jalen Williams, right?
We'll see. Right, that's what they
I'm just
think.
saying, like, they could make a move like that to go get a talented person that's not going to be asked to carry a franchise. I think that's a good situation
That's
for
true.
whichever player does end up going to the Thunder. But at the end of the day, I think if they would have lost and then they would have pushed the chips in to get Giannis, I think they would have had a
Yeah,
good
that would have been scary.
shot at like 3
Giannis
chips
and
in
Shea,
5 years.
that's scary. That's scary.
I will use a little bit of my Heat homerness to make just a point about it. We saw Jimmy and
Here
Bam
we go.
have, a certain level of success, right? They went to 2 finals, didn't win any. I think Shea and Giannis would be
Oh,
like
I see
the
what you're saying.
ultimate form of like that type of duo, right? Like, Shea's not a 3-point killer, but he can live in the mid range, creates fouls. Giannis is like the best version of what Bam could ever hope to be, right? Like those two, just that would have been insane if, depending on how many role players they would have retained. So I'm thankful in that sense that they won. Maybe the Heat can, break their 0-for-9 streak on striking out on stars and actually get Giannis now.
They're not.
Miss out on some fucking KD, bro. Like, what are we doing, Pat? Pat saying he doesn't want to include Haywood Highsmith and.
Are you serious?
Like,
Don't do that. Don't do that. That's crazy.
The real deal, right? He didn't want to give up both Ware and Jokic, but we'll talk about KD in a second. Let's talk about the
You can't give
Pacers,
up
though. They
Ware,
deserve
though.
a little extra attention. Joe, this was tough, man. I was just so pissed when I
You
saw it
knew it was
happen
gonna
because you could
happen.
see it immediately. The first time I saw the replay, you could see the tendon snap and roll up his leg. Halliburton tears his Achilles in the first quarter. This is very similar to what happened to Kevin Durant in 2019, trying to play through a calf injury, and it just snapped. So let's just talk about take the opportunity to give Halliburton a little bit of his flowers for the playoff run that he had, but then let's talk about how does this impact the Pacers next year, because he's like Dame, like Jason Tatum, he's likely going to miss all of next year with this injury. So your
You
reaction,
think he's
Joe?
gonna miss the whole year? He's probably gonna miss the whole year. Damn, if he missed the whole year, then
I mean, yeah, Achilles are typically
this is
12-month injuries. They're not good. You're not coming back from an
you're
Achilles
not.
injury in the playoffs.
Hey, they just gonna have to ride it out. And they are a good team without Tyrese Halliburton. So they got to go into that thought process. If we can stay afloat, we can still be a top 4 team in the East. That's what they got to do. That's the only thing you can really do, and hope, because you're not going to tank. You're not going to trade the pieces you have. You've shown that you can compete in the East, and you can beat anybody in the East. And you've shown that you can compete when Halliburton hasn't been there. So that's all you got to do. Is going to expect other people are going to get paid in the off season. They're going to have to step up and prove that they deserve to get paid. I mean, you got a great backup point guard. I mean, you got Matthew Dellavedova 2.0 over there, T.J. McConnell. So they should be straight. All the love that they was giving that man, they should be just fine. So you can still, without Tyrese Halliburton, I think they can still easily be a top 5-4 seed in the East. They got a good team. You don't think
Yeah, I
they
don't
can
know about
compete
I
with
don't
the
know about top 4 or 5.
Pistons? No, the Pistons are kind of good. The Magic.
Pistons are rising. I mean, you got to think, like, I love to dunk on it, but you got to think the Sixers will be better
Yeah,
than
that's
what they were
true.
this year. The Knicks should still be good. The Celtics without Jason
Very
Tatum are
good.
still probably a better
Damn, you're
regular
right.
season
That's
team
so.
than the Pacers.
The NBA is so stacked
Like, it's
right
gonna be tough.
now.
Like, think about it, they were the 4 seed
You're
this
right.
year, right? They were
You're
the 4
right.
seed with
But
Halliburton
they had
this
such a
year,
terrible
so
start.
they're probably
Damn.
they
The
did.
NBA is so stacked right now. Yeah, they may be fucked. They may. Damn.
So here, you actually kind of brought it up earlier, Joe, and this is why I just think it sucks so much for them. All those players that they've got on friendly deals right now, by the time Halliburton comes back, they're probably going to
Mm-hmm.
have to pay a lot of them. And so they're going to have to
Do
make
it
a decision
now
probably at the
or
trade deadline. Like a guy like Obi
yeah, he's
Toppin.
gone. He's gone.
What do you do? Because he's
He's
earned himself a
gone.
nice contract. He
He
did
did.
very well last year. He had a great playoff run. He's likely going to have even more opportunity next year. Do you trade him for some assets at the trade deadline, knowing you're not going to win next year, right? Or do you take it? I think he would have one more year on his contract after next year. Like, do you hold him for that? Like, they're gonna have a lot of very interesting decisions like that. Neesmith, Nemhard, like Miles Turner. What are they gonna do with him now? Because his contract's up. The
He need to
longest
go
tenured
too.
pacer. Do you bring him back knowing Halliburton's gone? Like, all of these decisions now that they have to make is just it's very good. It's gonna be very interesting. That's why it just really sucks that happened, because this, it's very easy for you or I to sit here and say, oh, he should not play. Like, that Achilles is, like, we've seen it too many times. You never know if you're ever
Exactly.
going
You
to get
gotta
back
play. You gotta
to
play.
the finals. So, like, you can't blame him for playing. But
Look how
man,
he
it
looked
just
in
sucks
Game
that that
6
happened.
though.
It really
Playing
does.
on that, he looked great, and he looked good.
Yeah, he looked fine, and that probably gave them comments like,
Gotta
"Oh,
play.
okay, yeah, he's managing this fine." And so, yeah, it just really sucks. But yeah, the Pacers, I don't know
You're
what you do.
stuck.
I really don't.
Yeah,
Like,
you're
do
right.
you?
You can't just waste a year because Halliburton's out.
But it's, I mean, like, do you make some business decisions and, like, kind of hope you get into the lottery instead of making the
Damn, you're
playoffs?
thinking a year
And
ahead. You gotta think a
maybe,
whole year ahead. Yep.
I mean, I'm sure they're not going to do
No,
anything
because
rash like
yeah,
before the season. But, like, at the trade deadline, if you're sitting at like 20 and 30 or whatever the kind of record is, like, do you just kind of say, like, all right, some of these pieces that championship contender teams feel like could push them over the edge. Yeah, let's get something back for them. I don't know.
It is.
It's a tough call.
Damn.
I'm glad I'm not the one that has to
above my
make
pay
it.
grade.
But
That's tough.
I mean, and plus too, like you also kind of have to think like for those guys, Rick Carlisle has kind of proven now there in Indy that he can develop those guys, right? Like he can find those guys.
He's a great coach.
Maybe you trade them and then bring in some others that you just kind of reset. Like we've seen plenty of teams do that. So it's going to be interesting. Then the whole conversation is, what do you expect from Halliburton when he does come back? I hate that for them. I really do, because they were a fun team to watch. Great ride. Cheers to you,
It's
Pacers.
over.
But let's talk about the big
30 years
offseason
of
news.
being terrible again. Good luck. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. You had your run, Smalls. Get out of here. Not happening again.
Let's talk about the big news. It completes the cycle, Joe.
Boom by you.
Now, James Harden, Russell Westbrook, and Kevin Durant have now all officially been traded to the Rockets at some stage of their career.
Wow.
KD goes to the Rockets for Jalen Green, Dylan Brooks, a first-round pick, and 5 second-round picks. Joe, what's your reaction? Obviously, the Lakers were not in on this one, so you didn't have much of a stake in it. You're probably hoping that he would have gone east. But what do you think, Joe? I mean, this is an interesting trade for the Rockets. From my point of view, it doesn't seem like they gave up a whole lot.
To me, it looks like they said, okay, we play Ime Udoka coached this young team and made them really good, made us a threat in the playoffs. And these are the players that didn't take a step forward in the playoffs. We got to get rid of them and find somebody else to come in because we feel like we championship ready. And I think that's what they did. And they got exactly what they wanted. I think they really didn't have to give up very much. The value for this trade was very low. Like that's all you gave up to get Kevin Durant. That's easy take. Now I think Jalen Green's going to be a good player. Like Dylan Brooks, this is a solid player that you could probably need, but
he's a fine role player.
You can get another Dylan Brooks. Exactly. I don't think you lost the core identity of that team. The team's still going to be Ime Udoka defense focused, but now you got a killer. Now you got somebody, Kevin Durant. Like you're getting 27 points out of him. Like what you're gonna get out of that. Now you got some young talent. Sengun gonna get better. Thompson's gonna get better. You got a lot of young talent there. They're gonna be just fine. They're gonna be. Man, they're gonna be scary. It just all depends on Kevin Durant's health. Like, I can't sit here and say they're gonna be a threat because we've said that for the last 5 years when Kevin Durant goes places, and we've seen how that turned out. So all we do know is he's gonna score points.
Yeah, because the difference between this one is though, every other team had to kind of give up.
No bitch, gut them. Yeah, they didn't have to do that here.
Like the Rockets didn't do that. They gave up. I mean, it's not much more than a 1-for-1, right? Like you gave up one starter. I can't remember if Dylan Brooks technically started 2, but like you gave up 2 people from your rotation to get Kevin Durant, right? Jalen Green,
good young player, but you saw how he did in the playoffs.
I mean, he's an okay young player, but I mean, at this point, he's been in the league long enough
shot
to where
selection got to be better.
He's not. He's not going to be Kevin Durant. He's not turning into Kevin Durant at any point in his career. So yeah, you push all the chips in. You still got Fred VanVleet. You still got Jabari Smith. You still got Sengun. You still got Amen Thompson. You still got Terry
I forgot about Eason.
Like
that's
you
insane.
Have so many young players still. It's like they did not have to give up that much.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean Kevin Durant is on a 3-season streak of averaging 25 plus on 50,
insane.
40, 90.
Insane. Like you got.
And you at the one thing that you could say about the Rockets last year is when they could not play in transition and play off their defense, they didn't really have an answer in the half court.
Now you do.
Now they do. They got the answer in half court. So I think it was pretty much a home run for both the Rockets and for Kevin Durant. To be honest, as much as I would have liked to see him in Miami, this is a better situation than what he would have gone into in Miami. I can't even cap on that because the one thing I was worried about with with a Kevin Durant trade for a lot of the teams, if you don't have like a currently constructed culture, way of play, style of playing, I would be a little worried. Because I think at this point, similar to what you were saying earlier, Joe, Durant is pretty much proven at this point of his career. He's not like the ultimate needle mover anymore, right? Like, he's not that. He's not going to just go in and automatically save all your problems, fix all
Definitely
your problems.
not. No.
He's never really been that, right? Like, because he, for as great as he is, he's not exactly a huge playmaker. Now, he doesn't need to have the ball in his hands. He's very easy to fit into whatever you want to do. But if you don't have a culture, if you don't have a coach that kind of instills a certain level of accountability and all that in your team,
He's just gonna
I
go
would be a
hoop,
little
bro.
worried about
He's just gonna
Kevin
go
Durant
hoop,
going
right?
there.
And be like, "Hey, I did my part.
Yeah, he's not
I
going to
did
be
my
that guy.
part."
And that's okay. That's okay, but he's
Uh-huh.
not going to be that guy, right? Like, he's not going to be that guy that stirs shit up and holds a bunch of other people accountable. And that's okay.
Right.
Ime Udoka will do that. Ain't no problem with Ime Udoka doing that. He might not always do that for himself. That's a whole other story. But he'll
Ain't
do it
nothing
on the
wrong with a little
basketball court.
bump and grind.
He will do it on the basketball court. So I think that's a great trade for the Rockets. The other teams that were supposedly in it, the Spurs, but the Spurs weren't really willing to give up anybody, it sounds like.
Yeah.
The Heat, of course, it was a big star, so they threw their hat in the ring, but then didn't want to give up anything to actually get the star. And then the Timberwolves were not on Kevin Durant's wish list, but were somewhat aggressive in trying to get him. That would have been interesting. Him and Ant, we know
And then the
Ant loves
Knicks on some
KD,
weird
was his
shit.
favorite player, but the Knicks
It
thing never
didn't,
made
but
sense to me.
why would you say
How
no?
are
I
they
know, but
gonna
why
make
would you
that
even
work?
say no? You didn't even want to entertain it. It's crazy. I don't know how you make it work, but
Yeah, it's just one of those things where
they said they just
like,
gonna ride this out for the next 2 years, bro. They said we all in. I guess
well, I mean, it's like, what did they really have? I mean, unless they were going to do Cat for
that's all they
KD
could do.
straight up, and let the Suns wanted that.
That's true.
But like, I don't know.
What are the
I mean, I guess Cat and Booker are really good
What do the
friends from their
Suns
time at
do?
Kentucky, but
Because you're not keeping Booker, Beal, and Jalen Green.
yeah, they're
That's
in
not
a real
happening.
tricky situation. The Suns are the other part of this, like Jalen Green, Devin Booker, Bradley Beal, and Dylan Brooks all on one
Why you got all them
team
guards
is
and they all need the ball in the hand?
a choice. Someone brought this point up, and it deserves more, I think, more talking about. Matt Ishbia, when he bought the team, wanted to be like more hands-on and do all. I'm going to push all the chips to the middle of the table. Kind of felt like he was like a wannabe Mark Cuban, in a sense. Boy, is he royally fucked up that team. I mean, he bought the team right after they went to the finals. Has there been a more mismanaged team?
How many coaches have they had? 3?
3 coaches. All these big swings at these trades, we give up all these pieces. I don't. Did they even win a playoff game?
Nope.
Like, that's insane.
Sweep slip. It was bad. You're not lying. And you see, like, every other player that they got rid of is making it to the Eastern Conference Finals, Western Conference Finals.
Yeah, Mikal Bridges.
Everybody doing great.
Like,
they fine. Damn. Yeah.
Hey,
It's nice to have money, I guess.
That's tough. Sometimes you kind of know your role, know what you're good at, know what you're not good at. Matt, you're good at making money.
Stuck with that.
Leave the basketball decisions to someone else.
But he used to play basketball.
I think that's fine. That's fine. So did I.
That's funny. You get lying. It'd be those dudes who was trash in high school, be trying to do the most coaching and all that shit, like they know what's going on.
Yeah, they're in a tough spot. I mean, they don't own any other first round picks.
They got nothing.
So even if they suck, they're not gonna benefit from it.
I don't know what they're gonna do.
Man.
Can they trade those pieces and get Giannis? But you just got traded. You probably can't trade anybody. You can trade Beal or Booker.
But
You got to trade
no
Book.
trade clause.
But what's Book and what?
Yeah.
That's crazy. That's tough.
That's tough, Joe. That's tough, Joe.
Damn.
That's real tough. Tough scene.
Sorry for him.
Tough scene. All right, Joe. You know how we end the show. We choose love. We choose violence. I know it's a quicker one, but not as many topics these days. What you got, Joe?
I want to shout out. I can't wait. I'm finna do this. They playing right now. Shout out the Chicago Cubs. They brought Sammy Sosa back. That was great to see. They playing the Cardinals right now, and I'm going to the game tomorrow. So I just wanted to shout out baseball right now since basketball is over. Shout out Caitlin Clark getting in fights in the WNBA.
We can't.
I was there. I know.
Basketball's not
But no,
over.
I didn't want to give love to that. They brought Sammy Sosa back, and he was a little bit darker. So shout out.
How are you going to steal that from me? How are you going to steal that from me?
It was great to see, man. It was great. He needed to be back. They shouldn't have never let him not be back.
There was a little bit of poetry there. I'm obviously going to double down on that love for Sammy being back at Wrigley. 21 seasons. Sammy's number 21. So a little poetry there, I guess. But like you said, should have never been barred. Fuck the Ricketts, sell the team. I still hate you. Stupid bitches.
Damn.
But yes, glad Sammy's back. He will be getting inducted into the Cubs Hall of Fame at the end of the season in September. I'm doing everything I can to make sure I will be in attendance for that because I have to. Yeah, good for them. This game fucking sucks. Stupid Cardinals.
You guys had the bases loaded.
Ain't been able to hit for shit all year.
And Ian Happ couldn't get nothing.
Sure did. Ben Brown's dumbass still just giving up home run after home run.
A lot of fireworks going off. A lot of fireworks going off.
I need the Cubs. I need the Cubs other starters to get healthy. I need Shota to get healthy. He's supposed to pitch on Thursday.
I'm gonna send you some pictures. I'm gonna send you pictures tomorrow when I'm watching the Cardinals beat the Cubs from the Redbird Club.
Okay. Famous last words right there.
Right. I'll be watching some of these games.
Right.